Stay sharp, my friendo. Most people think Seiko is the brand their uncle bought at the mall in 1998. Truth is, some of these watches make $50,000 Swiss houses look like they're overcharging for stamped metal. The real gap between a $300 Seiko and a $300,000 Seiko has almost nothing to do with how well it tells time. It's about understanding what Seiko is actually selling you at each price point. These are the 5 levels of Seiko. Stick with me through this, and you'll know exactly which tier delivers the goods and where you're just paying for a story stitched into a dial. And if you think the cheap ones are just watered-down junk, wait until we get to level 3. That one's the industry's best-kept secret. Level 1, the accessible entry. This is Seiko opening the door and letting regular people in. The lineup here is the Seiko 5 Sports. Automatic movement, caliber 4, R36. Day-date function, around 100 meters water resistance. Starts around $250. Tops out near $350 depending on the dial and bracelet. Here's what people get wrong about this level. They assume a $300 watch with an automatic movement must be cutting corners somewhere. Nope. This is a real mechanical heart, hand-winding, hacking seconds, 40-plus hours of power reserve, serviceable for decades if you actually take care of it. Compare that to a $300 fashion brand quartz watch. You're paying for a logo stitched onto a battery. Here, you're paying for actual Japanese watchmaking. The badge does something to people, sure, but at this level, the badge is backed up by real guts. Quick note on this tier. Resale is rough. A 3-year-old Seiko 5 loses a big chunk of its value fast. Doesn't matter. These aren't investment pieces. They're daily beaters, and it's actually the best watch industry deal you'll find under $500. If I had to pick one at this level, get whichever dial color you'll actually wear every day. That's the whole game here. Level 2, the Tool Pro. SK Heritage, reborn as the modern Prospex diver. Same automatic guts, upgraded, sapphire crystal on most current models, 200 meters water resistance, ISO 6425, dive certification, real unidirectional bezel, starts around $450, tops out near $800. This is the level where Seiko quietly embarrasses the entire Swiss dive watch category. A $700 Prospex is actually tested to dive standards. Shock resistance, bezel function underwater, magnetic resistance, the whole checklist. Meanwhile, a lot of Swiss brands charge $8,000 for a dive watch. The owner is terrified to get wet because one scratch tanks the resale value. Nobody buys a Prospex to be seen. They buy it because it works forever and doesn't care if it gets dropped off a boat. This is where actual watch guy respect starts, not the price tag. Quick note, the modding scene around this watch is enormous. Aftermarket bezels, straps, even full case swaps. People treat it like the Honda Civic of watches, cheap enough to mess with, tough enough to survive you messing with it. Pick at this level the standard Prospex diver, nothing fancy. Don't overpay for the limited colorway. You're buying a tool, not a trophy. Level 3, Heritage Refinement. King Seiko. Most people watching this have never heard the name, and that's exactly the point. In-house automatic movement, sapphire crystal, hand-applied Zaratsu polished cases, around 50 meters water resistance. Starts around $1,700. Tops out near $3,300. Here's where the whole Swiss equals quality story falls apart. Zaratsu polishing, that mirror flat, zero distortion case finish, takes years to learn by hand. Swiss houses charge a $15,000 premium for that exact technique on a case. King Seiko puts it on a $2,000 watch. Why? Because this tier isn't selling status, it's selling craft, and almost nobody's shopping for the logo. You genuinely have to know watches to even know King Seiko exists. That's not a flaw, that's the filter. This is basically the little sibling of Grand Seiko, using a lot of the same design language and finishing techniques. At a third of the price. If you know, you know. If you've made it this far into the video, you clearly care more about how watches actually work than what they cost to flex. Drop your favorite tier so far in the comments. I'm curious where people land before we hit the expensive stuff. Because level 4 isn't just more expensive, it's a different species. Seiko spent 28 years, 3 full decades, developing a movement called spring drive. Not quartz, not mechanical. Something in between that shouldn't work, but does. No ticking, no escapement stutter, just a smooth, silent glide. While Swiss brands kept re-releasing the same 1755 lever escapement concept in a new dial color, Seiko built something that makes 250-year-old Swiss engineering look like a museum piece. Level 4, the masterpiece benchmark. Grand Seiko Spring Drive. Caliber 9R series, accurate to plus or minus 1 second per day. Sapphire crystal, Zaratsu polished case, 100 meters water resistance. Starts around $5,000, climbs to $12,000 for the special dials. Let's do the math the Swiss don't want you doing. A $12,000 Swiss chronometer, certified and everything, runs about -4 to +6 seconds a day. That's the ceiling of 3 centuries of mechanical technology. Grand Seiko's Spring Drive hits 1 second a day, and that's the floor, not the ceiling, because it uses a quartz-regulated glide wheel instead of a ticking escapement. Mechanical power, electronic precision, zero compromise. And the dials aren't just inspired by nature, marketing copy. A lot of them are hand-translated from actual photographs of birch forests and snowfall near the manufacturer in Japan. Swiss houses charge you extra for a heritage story. Grand Seiko builds the story into the metal and still charges you less for it. Quick note, this is peak value per dollar in all of horology, full stop. Pick here any of the standard spring drive dress models over the flashier limited editions. You're paying for the movement, not the box it comes in. Level 5, the untouchable grail. Credor, specifically the Eichi 2. This isn't for sale to most humans, and Seiko knows it. Hand-finished manual caliber, a porcelain white dial with 0 printed markings. Every single hour marker is hand-painted, one at a time. The case is polished by hand for hours by a single craftsman. Starts around $50,000, climbs into the hundreds of thousands for the rarest special editions. Here's the flex fact nobody expects. These come out of a tiny workshop in Japan called the Micro Artist Studio, staffed by a handful of watchmakers, fewer people than work the counter at your local coffee shop. Every Eichi 2 passes through their hands from raw metal to finished case. No CNC shortcut on the final polish, no outsourced dial printing. This is Seiko finally playing the Swiss houses at their own handcraft game, and honestly, winning. The difference is, there's no billboard for this tier, no influencer unboxing video. You find out the Eichi 2 exists because you already knew enough to go looking for it. That's the real luxury flex, a grail that doesn't need your followers to justify the price tag. So there you have it. 5 levels, 1 brand, 0 department store watches anywhere in sight. Here's the mic drop. Price was never about quality. It's about what you choose to value. Durability, precision, handcraft, or the story stitched into the dial. So here's the debate. Would you run the bulletproof Prospex diver for the next 20 years and never think twice? Or would you take a $10,000 Grand Seiko Spring Drive over a Rolex Submariner at the same price? Pick one. Let's talk about it in the comments. Until next time, stay sharp, my friendo.